If you're about as sharp as a marble and decided to do a 6-month stint in a place known as The Hole, what would you do? In this video, I'm going to go through the movie The Platform and explain to you exactly why you have little to no chance at survival. This is Why You Wouldn't Survive The Platform. If you enjoy these types of videos, please consider subscribing and leaving a like. The Platform is a movie that takes place in a sort of prison that has 333 floors with 2 people per floor. Once per day, a platform will come down filled with food. It's not clear how long the platform stays on each floor, but it seems to be around 1 or 2 minutes. There's this idea floating around that if they rationed the food, that there would be enough food for everyone, but I don't think that that's true. When Goreng, our main protagonist, and Baharat, his new floor mate, decided to ride the platform down and make everyone ration the food, they were on floor 6. I'm not exactly sure which floor that they were on when they ran out of food, but the last floor that they showed before reaching the bottom was 250, so they ran out of food in the high 200s, low 300s, but we also have to keep in mind that they didn't let anyone from floor 7 to floor 50 eat anything. Not to mention, the platform also skipped a lot of floors because the people were already dead. So there's not a chance in hell that there's enough food to go around. I also want to mention that you cannot hoard food. If you try to keep anything after the platform moves on, they will keep raising the temperature until you're a nice charbroiled steak, or you put whatever you took back. With that out of the way, how would you find yourself in this godforsaken hellhole? Well, there are 2 ways of getting down here. 1, you could volunteer like Goreng does, or 2, you could choose to go here instead of serving out a regular prison sentence like Trimagasi did. I don't know why you would volunteer to go into a place like this, but it seemed like Goreng didn't know anything about this place. You're allowed to bring 1 item in with you. Goreng brought a book in with him, and Trimagasi brought a knife that apparently sharpens itself. It's unclear how strict they are on this 1 item policy, like if you bring a gun, would the bullets count as a separate item? I do believe that this is the case though, since we don't see a single person in the movie bring a gun. Most people brought things like knives, a sword, or a baseball bat. You will start out getting placed randomly on one of the 333 floors, and at the end of each month, they will gas you and place you on another random floor. If your floor mate is still alive, then you will have the same one. If they are dead, then you will get a new one. Once inside the hole, you can do pretty much whatever you want except for hoard food, as I discussed earlier. Nerd Explains made a how to beat video on this movie a while back, and I want to go through his 6 methods. His first method is kill everyone else, which, as he explains, is kind of what happens in the movie when Goreng and Baharat tries to enforce rationing by riding the platform down. This could work if you're willing to murder hundreds of people, but there are a couple of problems with this. The first problem is you would need to convince your floor mate to go down with you. In the movie, he easily convinces Baharat to go down, but in reality, I don't think it would be as easy, especially since they're on floor 6. That's a guaranteed month of survival. Why risk your life when you don't have to? Maybe if you were on a lower floor, you could convince your floor mate to ride the platform down with you, but if there's no food, then what is the point? Unless you want to ride the platform back up and try to escape. The next problem with this is you're going to have to fight a bunch of people on the way down. On the higher floors, with food, people probably wouldn't risk fighting you, but once you get down to the lower ones, I doubt they're going to give you a chance to explain. They're just going to attack you like the starving animals they are. So I think the most likely outcome of this would be you riding down by yourself and getting cannibalized by someone on the lower floors. His second method was just waiting it out and serving your sentence, which is probably your best chance at making it out of here, depending on how long your sentence is. I still think that you have a next to 0 chance of surviving this way. It's hard to say at what floor the food runs out. In the movie, a guy says he was on floor 88 and he was lucky to survive. Now, I can't be sure if that means very little or 0 food made it to his floor, but Goreng and Trimagasi started out on floor 48, and there wasn't a ton of food left. They were pretty much eating scraps. So with another 40 floors from them to that guy, I would say that no food made it to him. Also, as I mentioned earlier, when Goreng and Baharat rode the platform down, they didn't start handing out food until floor 51, so it's pretty safe to assume that the food runs out around floor 50 to maybe 60. If we assume the high end, that means that 273 floors did not get food. That leaves you an 18% chance, at best, of being placed on a floor that gets food. In the movie, Goreng never gets placed on a floor with no food twice in a row. This is extremely unlikely since 82% of the floors do not get food. The point is, waiting out your sentence is probably the best way to survive, but it's still pretty shit odds. The third way is riding the platform up. If you're placed on a lower floor and you might starve to death, then hey, you may as well try it. Jumping on the platform on the way up is a bad idea because of, well, you can see. So you have to ride the platform down first, which is what ends up happening in the movie. They do smash a lot of heads with these bars they got from their bed frames, but eventually they take a fight that they don't easily win and they receive some lethal wounds that ends up killing them both. The ending is a bit of a mystery, but with the most common theory that I could find is that Goreng and Baharat bled to death after their fight and all that stuff at the end where he found the kid and sent her up with the platform, then walked off into the darkness of the bottom floor was just a hallucination. So if you do manage to make it all the way to the bottom and ride the platform back up, what happens? Well, we don't really know, but when he was being interviewed, they said that once you're inside, you can't get out until the agreed period is over. So I imagine they would probably just knock you out and put you back in. His next solution is don't volunteer. I mean, that doesn't really help you once you're already in the hole, but yeah, don't volunteer to imprison yourself in a place called the hole. It's unclear though how much people on the outside know about it. Goreng didn't seem to know anything about it at all. His fifth solution was bring a useful item. The problem with this is you would be going into this with little to no knowledge, so you wouldn't know what to prepare for. Nerd talks about bringing a weapon and a bunch of extra ammo or extra food that you could fit into a carry-on. The problem is, how strict are they about this one item rule? I think that they are very strict. There's only one person in the movie that brought more than one item, and that's this guy who brought a bunch of money with him. I think they just didn't care in his case because it wouldn't help him survive at all, and it's their rules. They get to choose how they enforce them. I really doubt that they're going to let you bring a backpack full of food with you or a ton of extra bullets. The fact that not a single person in the movie brought a gun with them backs this up. I really like Nerd Explains videos, but this last solution is just laughable. He talks about fashioning a rope out of bed sheets and then throwing it up as the platform comes down to the floor above, then climbing up. And as the platform lowers, somehow climb onto it and jump up on the floor above. You're going to have some kind of double jump video game mechanics for this to work, especially if you're going to do this while holding a weapon. If you make it onto the platform and then jump and grab the ledge above, they would probably just kick you in the face and knock you back down. Even if you pull this off and climb up, it's still going to be a 2v1 fight. But let's say that you manage to make it all the way to the top, there's still the same problem with riding the platform up. I believe that they would just end up knocking you back out and throwing you back into the hole. In the end, I think there's only one way to make it out of the hole, and that's serving out your sentence. When you're on the floors with food, you're good for a month. When you get placed on a lower floor, you're going to have to kill and eat your floor mate, and that's assuming they don't decide to kiss the bottom floor before you have a chance to kill them. But even with that, you also have to keep from going insane, which is going to be another major obstacle. You're stuck in a cell with nothing to do but eat your floor mate and stare at the wall. So in the end, if someone else doesn't kill you, or you succumb to starvation, the ever-tightening grip of insanity may plunge you into darkness. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing and leaving a like. I would really appreciate it.